So, beginner's guide to fragrance to perfume. So, if you want to get into fragrances, you might be wondering, where should I start? Should I just buy a bunch of fragrances? Should I get samples? Where should I buy them? So, I'm going to walk through a few important but basic steps of things you should keep in mind, either if you want to start a perfume collection, if you want to just start smelling nice and know which kind of perfume you should get. So, to start, first, you gotta be familiar with the basic terminology, which is, there's not too much. You basically have eau de cologne, eau de toilette, and eau de parfum. And those are the main three things that you're gonna see on basically any perfume bottle, any fragrance bottle. And basically these terms refer to the concentration of the fragrance. So eau de cologne is the weakest option. It is between 2 and 5% perfume oil, meaning the rest is filler, usually alcohol and water, to kind of stabilize it. So colognes, because they are weaker and have less perfume oil, usually don't last that long. Sometimes there's splash bottles, meaning you actually just splash the fragrance on you in large quantities, because otherwise you're not even going to smell it. Clones are, the benefit of them, even though they don't last very long, usually, is that they're usually pretty cheap, because, again, there's not a lot of perfume oil in them, which is really the main thing that costs. Next step up is the eau de toilette, which is 8-10% perfume oil. A little bit stronger, but still more of a moderate to light sort of fragrance. Then eau de parfum, which is usually the strongest out of the bunch. Usually 15-ish% perfume oil. Then, in rare occasions, usually with like luxury brands, there's the extrait, which is extract. Usually it's 20% or more, sometimes, perfume oil, which is usually very, very strong and very expensive. So those are the main terms. There's also a few other terms, like sillage, for instance. Sillage is basically the projection or the scent trail. If you walk away, your scent is going to be lingering and people can notice it. Then, of course, the longevity, how long it lasts, things like that. But those are the main terms to look out for, especially when you're buying a fragrance for the first time. You should also be familiar probably with the, major brands. There's Dior, Chanel, Guerlain, most of them are French, the rest are Italian, some are Spanish, some are American, but the major ones are French. The French have been in the perfume business for more than 100 years. Probably closer to 200 years actually, but pretty much as long as you buy from a reputable brand, you're going to get a reputable, respectable product. If you buy from some shady website on the internet, you don't really know what you're going to get. You might get something that you don't really like. But besides that, making sure you get a quality product, you should also become familiar with what kind of fragrance you like. A lot of people don't even really know what kind of fragrances they like because they haven't had the chance to really try different fragrances. So I always recommend go to a department store. They have all the samples, so you can try whatever is interesting to you. You might find that you like this particular note or type of fragrance that you didn't even know existed. And that will definitely help you narrow down what you like and what you don't like, and that will also, in the long run, save you money, because you won't be buying something thinking you're gonna like it, and then find out, I don't actually like this type of fragrance, I don't like how it smells, so then you don't actually use it. So you can avoid that by really figuring out, again, what you like and what you don't like. Then, it's time to actually buy a fragrance, and there are many ways you could do this. You could go to the mall, go to the department store and just buy, a fragrance. You could try it. If you like it, you could buy it. I would be careful about buying something immediately, because keep in mind that fragrances have top notes, middle notes, and base notes. The top note is going to be the opening, how it smells when you very first put it on. But how it smells when you first put it on is not going to be how it smells after a few hours. It's going to change and evolve until it reaches the base notes, which is really how it's going to last for the rest of the day. So basically, if you're at the mall, the person at the counter gives you this perfume, you try it. It smells great. The opening is great. You really like it. You want to buy it. However, later on, you discover the dry down, how it becomes after a few hours. You can't stand it because you might not like the base notes that much. So it can be a little bit risky buying something right away based on the opening, because again, it can change into something you don't like. So you could avoid this by, spraying some on. Maybe you give it a minute, maybe you walk around and come back. And that should give you a little bit more time to determine how you like this fragrance now that it's warming up on the skin and starting to evolve. The other option is, if you don't want to buy a full bottle, which of course you could either do in person or online, you could just buy samples. I like to buy a lot of samples because they're very affordable and they let me determine if I even like the fragrance, because the fragrance might be $200 for the full bottle, meanwhile the sample is like $2, $3. So really the whole whole shebang basically can be narrowed down once you get samples, because again, you could get quite a lot of them for cheap and just try different ones and determine which ones you like, which ones you don't like. And then that will also save you from spending a lot of money on a full bottle of a fragrance that you might not really like. Then you could also determine which ones you do really, really like, and then actually spend your money on those ones. So the final thing to consider is where to actually buy your fragrances. Either, if you're not buying in person, buying directly from the designer brand is a good idea, because you know exactly where it's coming from. I also like to buy from discount sites. FragranceNet is one example, where they provide the real fragrance, not a knockoff, not a scam, the real thing, usually for a considerably lower price. Now, they obviously don't have all the fragrances on that site. Sometimes you do have to go directly to the manufacturer, to the designer brand, but discount sites are good for most fragrances. You do have to be careful to avoid some more shady websites, because they can actually be scams. Obviously, use your intuition. If you see a fragrance that's usually $300 and it's being sold for $50, it's kind of shady, probably not the real deal. But yeah, use your caution, your common sense, and you shouldn't have any problems with that. And those are pretty much the main tips, main kind of baseline things you should know as a novice entering the fragrance industry, because you'll learn most things naturally, but these things are like the main terms, the main where to buy these things. Once you have that foundation, it's easier. Everything else is much easier. So that's pretty much what to say about that. If you liked the video, leave a like, maybe subscribe, and I make videos throughout the week, so stick around for those.